Okay, people, JD. I don't know what to tell you. Everything I read, the American public is not happy with any of the major political party candidates. Yet, I'm trying to break out into there to let the American public know that there's another choice. That you people who are supposed to be my friends on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook, MySpace, on Tumblr, and all the others, don't seem to want to do anything. Just want to sit there and complain. We together must work to fix these problems our nation has. I've talked about many of the things. I've talked about separation of church and state, how the federal government has crossed over that line, and that by the ruling of the Supreme Court, they've made a decision on religion, making it not separation from church and state. They can't. Because the Constitution, and I mean the Constitution itself, limits that. Do you want me to tell you exactly how it limits it? If you all don't know, I can tell you. It's easy enough. All I got to do is go to the very, very first amendment. Amendment 1. Amendments to the Constitution of the United States. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise therefor. So where does the Supreme Court get the authority to make rulings to limit the free exercise? Well, actually they don't. But then, if you go to Amendment 10, it says the power is not delegated to the United States, that means also the Supreme Court, by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the state respectively or to the people. So when dealing with any religious matter whatsoever, our federal government has no authority. What does that mean? It means it can't restrict the free exercise of any religious activity. If there is a church out there that says, hey, we believe marriage is between two people, whether they're the same sex or not, our government can't say no. It has to be left up to the state and the local community and the people. Now, I also pledge something else that's very important. And seems to be nobody seems to care. Seems to be no one seems to care. Now, we all know by the Amendment 13, neither slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States, or any place subject to the jurisdiction. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. That means anybody forced without their consent, whether they're male or female, within the United States and its jurisdiction. Many females find themselves within the confines that is against the 13th Amendment, commonly referred to as sex trade. But then we go to 14th Amendment. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and is subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any laws which will abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens to the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. Representatives shall be appropriated among the several states according to their respective numbers, accounting for the whole number of persons in each state, including Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of election of President and or Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, and executive judicial officers of the state, or the members of the legislature, therefore, is denied to any male inhabitant, or now it's female also, being 18 years or older, no longer 21. So, that says I must protect the rights of every single citizen born within the United States and its jurisdiction. Right? Right. And that I will do. I want to know how in the world that the Supreme Court allowed Congress to pass a law dealing with, quote unquote, calling anchor babies. If a child is born here and both parents are legal aliens, the child, until he's 18 years old, is denied everything that is guaranteed him within that 14th Amendment. Where does Congress get that authority? They don't have it. But we got to do something about illegal aliens? Yeah, we do. And I will. But I can honestly tell you, Congress probably won't like it. But we have enough laws to fix the problem. We just need to apply it. Does that mean I'm going to be kicking illegal aliens out of this country? No, I'm not. I'm not going to grab up a family, split them up, and throw them outside this country just because they got here and been here for 12, 13 years. No. But what I am going to do is most likely going to cause them to leave the country if they don't become a citizen some way or somehow. Now you might say, well, you said you're not going to kick them out, but you're going to cause them to want to leave. Yes. To fix the problem, you must have the problem to fix itself. Trainloads of people come into this country every day. They come from all sorts, from the oceans, from our northern borders, from our southern borders. The only way to fix the problem is to take action against the cause of the problem. So, should I tell you what I'm going to do? No. But I promise you, you'll know it. And it will be done legally. But that child, who's an American citizen, will have the protection of the Constitution. And because that child was lucky enough to be born here, his family will have the protection of the Constitution until that child is 23 years of age. Then, by then, they must have become an American citizen. So, what is it I am really about? Well, we all seen everything on Hillary Clinton and Trump and Cruz and what's his name from Vermont, and it's not very good, is it? Now, I'm not asking you all out there who see this can totally agree with me. You can totally disagree with me on anything. What I want from you all is to get active so that the people out there know there is a different choice. So the people out there understand that yes, there's a reason to go and vote in November 2016. Otherwise, we have the smallest count of vote we ever had. And who knows, maybe with 8 million some odd thousand write-in votes, JD might win this time. Because he might have the highest number of votes. It looks like I'm going to be a write-in again because none of you have taken any action to help me, as you all pledged. But this time I might just be the write-in that wins. And then we have to march under Washington, D.C. to prove that JD is real. Think about that. All of us, a nation of people, marching on to the Federal Election Commission to prove that JD, their candidate from 2008 and 2016, is real. I'm not a word. I'm not a story. I'm a person. A statesman, most say, who believes in you, the people, the Constitution of the United States, and our nation. And together, all three entities, you, the people, the Constitution of the United States, as it is written, and our nation, makes an unbeatable combination for having the most wonderful nation, the greatest nation on earth. We may not be the nation with the biggest bat. We may not be the nation with the most of this or the most of that or the greatest of this. But we will be a nation that every nation looks to with envy. Because we will be a free nation. Free in the sense that we all have the same liberties, the same privileges, the same rights, and knowing we are secured with those liberties, rights, and privileges. Because the Constitution is there stating that. And me, myself, and I, JD, will fight to protect each and every one of you. Whether or not somebody over there agrees with it or somebody over there disagrees with it, it doesn't matter. The Constitution guarantees each citizen, and those citizens must be protected from the smallest to the largest. So what is JD all about? What makes him different? He lived among you. He worked among you. He was unemployed among you. He struggled through life. He had times when he couldn't pay his bills. He was in a credit card spiral. He's been through 3 marriages. He has 5 children that are actually of his own, and he has 4 other children through his marriage to his current wife. I have grandchildren throughout the country. Most think I do not think of them or care because I don't write them or communicate with them. They don't know how important they are to me. They don't know how I think of them all the time and wonder what they're doing. Some of my grandchildren are adults now, and they're struggling through. And I wonder how they're doing. Some of my grandchildren are teenagers, young girls, who think because I haven't said anything to them, I don't think of them. No. The reason I don't is because I don't wish to bother them. I don't wish to be a burden. I'm the type of guy that when I get old and I can no longer take care of myself, one day I'm going to go out for a walk and I'm going to disappear. Just disappear. Because I will not be a burden. I'm a proud man and a strong man. And I truly believe in our Constitution, and I believe in you, the people. But unless we get out there and do something, the political parties will maintain their control over this nation. And the candidates they throw at us will continue to deteriorate and deteriorate until really there's nothing we can do to stop it, and there's no reason for us to vote. But right now we have the power. The Constitution gives it to us, and we must grab a hold of our Constitution, our nation, and shake it from the grips of the political parties and give it to the people. Gosh, somebody asked me the other day, and I told them the greatest thing I could do as president, the very greatest thing I could do as president, is when I am leaving in my farewell address to tell you, the people, I have now placed the United States of America and our Constitution in your hands. Don't ever again let a political party or special interest group steal this nation from you. It's for yours to protect and yours to have. And our government must and always understand they are to serve you, the people, not you serve the government. So to you, I entrust the United States of America and our Constitution. That will be my farewell address. That is my goal. We got a lot to fix and a lot to do. But if you wanted to say the greatest goal of JD is, you'd have to say to give the people back their country, to strengthen the Constitution of the United States of America, to ensure that all government agencies understand that the Constitution is and shall and will always be the supreme law of the land. Supreme law, ultimate, and will not allow alterations of what we think it might mean, or alterations because we don't like what's in there, but it will be followed as written. Then you got JD. That's me. That's what it's all about, people. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm sure my presidency will upset a lot of people. And I'm sure my presidency will favor a lot of people. But unless we have the upsets, we don't know we're doing anything. To do stuff, we need to work together. I have said over and over and over again, I cannot do it alone. And I mean it. Without you, I'm just one person. But together, our Constitution gives us the tools to fix everything that needs to be fixed. Not the way we may want it, but the way it should be. Before I sign off today, I want to talk to you about one more important factor. Freedom. Freedom to do what you want. Freedom to speak as you wish. Freedom to practice as you practice. But never is there a word mentioning the limits of that freedom. Let me give you an example. Freedom of the press. Okay. The press has the right to cover any story that may be of interest. Any story. But they don't have the right to infringe onto other freedoms. Example. Paparazzi. Taking pictures. Take a famous actress or actor. In their backyard, fence up high, they're laying out nude. no, you don't have the freedom to take that picture. You are now infringing on that actress or actor's personal freedoms by taking away their freedom to lay out in their property with the proper secure fencing as they wish. You infringed on their freedoms. Therefore, the press does not have the right to enter into that. Now, maybe that might be too hard for you all to understand, so I'll give you a simpler one. That famous actor or actress decides to go to a restaurant to eat. They try to drive out of their gated community where they're at, their house. As soon as they hit that gate, they can't drive. People are all over the road and everything, taking pictures. Finally, when something has got them out of the way, they continue on. All along the way, there's obstacles for people taking pictures and stuff because they want those pictures. Freedom of press, freedom of press. Then they get to the restaurant, and they have valet parking, so they pull up. They try to get out of their car, and they can't get out of their car. Why? Because hundreds of people are right up against the car with cameras. They can't even get to the valet to hand their keys and to get inside the restaurant. What has happened there? Oh, freedom! No. The loss of those people trying to get to that restaurant, the freedom to travel and get to the restaurant of their choice. They lost that freedom. The press has infringed onto their freedoms so badly. The press has exceeded the limits of freedom of the press. Now, had the paparazzis been on the sidewalk as they pulled out and did not interfere with the traveling of the vehicle, and when the vehicle pulled up to the restaurant, had they been standing back so that they could freely open the door, hand the valet the keys, and walk inside the restaurant without being mobbed, then the press had acted within the freedoms that is guaranteed by the Constitution. But infringing on the traveling to and from and forcing them to have to struggle through a crowd to get into the restaurant, the press has gone beyond the freedoms that are guaranteed by the Constitution. Because the freedoms are not guaranteed to one person, one thing, or one idea. It is equally guaranteed to all. And it must be equally applied. When it becomes unequal, those were not guaranteed by our Constitution. Do you understand now the limits of our freedoms? Our freedom is not limited by laws. Our freedom is limited by when we infringe upon another's freedom. Then we have exceeded the freedoms guaranteed by our Constitution. I know that's hard to understand for people. Some people need laws. But understand this. Our Constitution was designed for each and every one of us. Each and every one of our citizens. And doggone it, me, myself, yes, I, as president, will do my very best to ensure that each and every one of you get that constitutional protection, those promises by the Constitution, and the rights and privileges that our Constitution demands for you be given to each and every one of you, whether you're a newborn baby or the oldest man in this nation, whether you're a hard-working woman or house husband. I like that turnaround instead of housewife, house husband. Whether you're a person who strongly believes in God and the teachings of your religion, or an atheist who wants to denounce God, you all have the same freedoms, rights, privileges, and protection. The people who believe in God do not have the right to force their beliefs onto those who don't. The people who don't believe in God do not have the right to force their ideas upon those who do. For example, a person who is an atheist drives down the street with all these churches, sees these crosses, sees these stars, sees these crescents. Oh, that is atheism. There is no God. Why do I have to look at these? You don't have to look at them. But you don't have the right to force those churches, those temples, those mosques to tear down their symbols of their beliefs. Because that is the freedom of religion, the free exercise of. The very first and most important thing, our Constitution guarantees all of us. When you're in school, if you don't believe in God, you don't want your children to pray, you teach them. You're in school and you believe in God and you want your children to play, you teach them. But our federal government, including the Supreme Court, cannot rule on prayer in school because it interferes with the free exercise of. How about abortions? Oh, where does life begin? I don't know. I can tell you this much. I know for sure it begins in the womb of the woman. Why? Because I got an ultrasound to prove it. I got this little face looking at me. Today she is a 14-year-old. They were talking about aborting her because I was 50-some years old and I was almost 60 maybe. She's 14 and I'm 67. I was 53 years old and my wife was 40. And they said we were too old. And something on her spine was too dark, too thick. So, they recommended a test, but most likely the test will cause an abortion. They gave us an ultrasound. We went home to decide. I looked at that face. I asked my wife, can you kill that? She says no. We called up and said no. We don't want the test. The baby will be born as the baby is. She was perfect. Every single measurement on her was right exactly where it should be. Not a little bit above, not a little bit below. Exactly. Her head circumference was exactly perfect. Her weight was exactly right. Her arm length, her feet length, her body length, everything was exactly right on the money. That's my answer to abortion. But that's my beliefs. I can tell you of it, but do I have the right to force it onto somebody else? No. All I can do is be an example and tell you what I believe. Now, yes, I believe abortion is wrong. I believe it is wrong. And I believe life begins before the child is born. That ultrasound proves it. But that's my beliefs, my ideals, my religious stand. But will I force that onto somebody else? I can't. The Constitution says I cannot. But the Constitution does not say I cannot be a guiding light. I cannot be an example for those to follow. And that I must be. And there's where my leadership comes in. I must be a strong leader. And I must do my very best so that all will want to follow. And together, we shall fix our nation. That's JD. That's what JD's about. I covered some very, very hot topics today. I didn't cover the usual stuff, but I covered the dangerous stuff. Understand, our Constitution has guarantees to each and every one of us. And me, as the president, I must protect those guarantees to each at every one of us to the best of my ability. And that I will do. And probably put a target on my back. I laugh about that. But both me and my daughter have premonitions. In my second term, I do get a second term, and in my second term near the end, I do die in the White House. So, people, what is it that you want? Do you want a Trump? Do you want a Hillary? Do you want a liar, a cheat, a thief, a Cruz? Hey, I'm sorry. Any sitting congressman or senator that is running for president out campaigning while the House is in session, or the Senate is in session, to me, is a liar because he lied to the people he's supposed to represent. He's not there. Oh, he may vote, but he can't argue on the floor his state's stance. He's collecting a paycheck for not doing a job that he's supposed to be doing. That makes him a thief. And he's not trustworthy to walk away like that. If he wants to run for president, all the power to him. But first, resign his position so that the governor may fill it with someone who will be there in Congress to represent the people of the state as they should be represented. Oh, it ticks me off that these people do this in Congress. They run all over the place, all over the country for 2 years, doing none of the requirements that is required of a senator and a congressman. Oh, that ticks me off. There should be laws requiring that no seating senator or congressman or state official above that of their Congress or whatever you want to call the state heads can be holding a position of such while campaigning for the title and the job of President of the United States of America. They must resign to allow proper government functioning within the job they're supposed to be holding and the job they're supposed to be doing, and let the monies for that job go to the individual who is actually doing that job than someone running around the country campaigning. So yeah, I got something really big against Ted Cruz. But that's the way I feel. That's my right. That's the way I am. So with that, I say to you, let's get together. Help me spread the word and get the people to vote. Okay?